Hey there, English learners. Before we dive into today's story about my journey as an ESL teacher, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you want more real-life English learning stories. Turn on those subtitles and let's begin our lesson together. Remember, every like helps this content reach more students just like you. Now, let me tell you about my first day teaching English at Boston Community Center. Hi there. I'm Jessica Miller, and this is my story of how I discovered my true calling as an ESL teacher. You know that feeling when your heart's racing and your hands are slightly shaking? That's exactly how I felt on my first day teaching at Boston Community Center. The morning sun was streaming through the windows as I arranged the desks into a welcoming semicircle. My hands trembled slightly while writing "Welcome to English Class" on the whiteboard. After 4 years of teaching literature to native English speakers at a local high school, this was an entirely different challenge, teaching English to complete beginners. I kept glancing at the clock as it ticked steadily toward 9 a.m. Adjusting my name tag one last time, I took a deep breath, remembering my own struggles with learning Spanish in college. Despite having the best resources and teachers, I had found it incredibly challenging. Now, I would be teaching English to adults who had left their entire lives behind to start anew in America. The sound of voices in different languages drifted in from the hallway. I could distinguish snippets of Spanish, Mandarin, and what seemed like Arabic. My first class would arrive any minute. Doctors, engineers, and other professionals who were starting over, many of whom couldn't yet string together a simple English sentence. "You can do this," I whispered to myself, smoothing my blazer. I had spent weeks preparing for this moment, developing a teaching method that would build my students' confidence alongside their language skills. The door handle turned, and my heart skipped a beat. A small group of nervous-looking adults peered into the classroom, clutching their textbooks like lifelines. I smiled warmly and gestured them inside, ready to begin a journey that would change not only their lives, but mine as well. As my new students filed into the classroom, one woman caught my attention immediately. She carried herself with quiet dignity, though her eyes betrayed the same nervousness I was feeling. She chose a seat in the front row, carefully placing her pristine notebook and 3 sharpened pencils on the desk. The small gold nameplate on her bag read, "Dr. Maria Suarez." "Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your English class," I said slowly, making sure to enunciate each word clearly. 12 pairs of eyes stared back at me, some confused, others hopeful. I pointed to myself. "I am Jessica, your teacher." Then, moving around the room, I began the introductions, pointing and saying simply, "You are..." When I reached Maria, she straightened in her chair. "I am..." She paused, gathering courage. "I am Dr. Maria, from Mexico." Her voice was barely above a whisper, but I could hear the determination in it. Here was someone who had probably performed complex surgeries, saved lives, and now was struggling with the most basic of introductions. That first lesson was a dance of gestures, simple words, and encouraging smiles. I had prepared flashcards with common greetings. "Hello," "Good morning," "How are you?" Each time a student successfully repeated a phrase, their faces would light up with small victories. But Maria remained frustrated, her doctor's precision making her hesitant to speak unless she was certain she could do so perfectly. During our first break, Maria approached my desk, clutching her medical credentials translated into English. "In Mexico, She struggled with the past tense. I fix hearts. She touched her chest, making a beating motion. Here, I cannot. No words. Her eyes welled up with tears of frustration. I gently took her hand and said, Maria, learning English is like healing a patient. It takes time, patience, and practice, small steps, every day. I could see in her eyes that she understood the metaphor, even if not every word. By the end of that first class, Maria had mastered, Hello, my name is Maria. I am a doctor from Mexico. It wasn't much, but the pride in her voice when she said those words perfectly made me realize something crucial. Teaching English wasn't just about grammar and vocabulary. It was about giving people back their identity, their confidence, and their voice in a new world. The next day, I decided to try something different. Instead of traditional textbook exercises, I brought in everyday objects: a coffee cup, a stethoscope, and various items my students might encounter daily. Maria's eyes lit up when she saw the medical equipment. Finally, something familiar in this unfamiliar world. Today, we practice real conversations, I announced, holding up the stethoscope. Dr. Maria, can you help me? The other students watched as Maria cautiously stood up. I handed her the stethoscope and pretended to be a patient. Hello, I said, clutching my chest dramatically. I don't feel well. Maria hesitated for a moment, then straightened her shoulders. Hello, she replied, more confidently than the day before. I am Dr. Maria. What is... She paused, searching for words. Wrong. The classroom came alive. Other students began offering words in English. Pain, sick, hurt. I wrote each word on the board, and we practiced pronouncing them together. Maria's professional instincts took over as she pantomimed examining a patient, teaching us all the words she knew for body parts in English. This spontaneous role play became our breakthrough moment. Soon, other students were joining in, creating simple dialogues based on their own professions. Chen, a chef from China, pretended to take food orders. Amir, an engineer from Egypt, demonstrated how to explain basic measurements in English. Remember, I told them, English is not just in books. It's in every moment of your day. I encouraged them to practice these simple dialogues with each other. How are you? I am fine. Thank you. Can you help me? Yes, I can help. By the end of class, the nervous silence from yesterday had transformed into a buzz of simple English phrases, mixed with laughter at mispronunciations and supportive nods at successful exchanges. Maria had mastered several new medical terms in English, and more importantly, she was speaking without her earlier hesitation. As they packed up to leave, I overheard Maria say to Chen, "See you tomorrow?" Her grammar wasn't perfect, but her smile was. Chen nodded enthusiastically. Yes, see you tomorrow. That's when I realized the power of connecting language learning to real life. It wasn't just about teaching English. It was about helping them reclaim their professional identities and build new connections in their adopted home. A week into our classes, something remarkable happened. I was in the middle of explaining common workplace phrases when Maria's hand shot up. Not with her usual hesitation, but with urgency. "Miss Jessica," she said, "yesterday I spoke with patient." Her eyes were bright with excitement. The entire class turned to listen as she continued. He said, "Chest hurt." I understood. I said, "Can you describe pain, like we practice?" The pride in her voice was unmistakable. This wasn't just about speaking English. This was Maria reclaiming her identity as a doctor. She went on to describe the entire interaction, using the simple phrases we'd practiced in class. Though her grammar wasn't perfect, she had successfully communicated with her first English-speaking patient. This moment transformed our classroom dynamic. Other students began sharing their own small victories. Chen had taken his first phone order in English at his restaurant. Amir had successfully explained a blueprint to his American colleague. I modified our lessons to include more real-world scenarios they were encountering. We practiced common phrases like, "Could you repeat that?" and "I don't understand. Please speak slower." Each successful interaction outside the classroom became a celebration inside it. "Remember," I told them, watching their confident smiles, "every conversation is practice, every mistake is learning, and every small success is a breakthrough." Maria nodded, clutching her medical dictionary with renewed determination. She had found her voice again, and with it, her purpose. As our classes progressed, something beautiful began to emerge. Our classroom became more than just a place to learn English. It transformed into a tight-knit community. I introduced conversation circles, where students would share stories about their home countries, their professions, and their dreams, all in simple English. Maria took the lead one morning, bringing in traditional Mexican candy to share. "In my country," she explained, carefully choosing her words, "we give these to patients after good news." This sparked a chain reaction. The next day, Chen brought dumplings, teaching everyone to say "delicious" in English while sharing them. Amir followed with Egyptian baklava, proudly explaining each ingredient in his newly acquired vocabulary. These cultural exchanges did more than improve their English. They created bonds. Students began meeting outside class to practice together. Maria and Chen started having lunch regularly at his restaurant, where she would order in English while he practiced medical terms with her. Amir joined them often, bringing architectural drawings to explain his work. Their support network grew stronger with each passing day. When one struggled with pronunciation, others would encourage them. When someone mastered a difficult phrase, everyone celebrated. They were no longer just classmates. They had become each other's cheerleaders, teachers, and friends. "In my country," Maria said one day, her English now flowing more naturally, "we say unity makes strength. Here I understand this better." I decided to take our learning beyond the classroom walls. "Today," I announced, "we practice in the real world." We transformed the community center's cafeteria into a series of real-life scenarios: a doctor's office, a restaurant, and a construction site. Maria volunteered to recreate a typical medical consultation. Her confidence had grown remarkably, and she now spoke with authority. "Good morning. What brings you here today?" Chen played the patient, describing symptoms we had practiced in class. Their interaction flowed naturally, mixing medical terminology with everyday English. Next, Chen turned his corner into a bustling restaurant. He taught everyone how to handle common restaurant situations, making reservations, ordering meals, and dealing with special requests. "No spicy, please," Maria practiced. making everyone laugh as she fanned her mouth dramatically. Amir's construction site scene became an unexpected hit. He demonstrated how to explain safety protocols in simple English. Wear helmet, be careful, follow signs. The practical nature of these phrases made them easy to remember and immediately useful. The most rewarding moment came when a real visitor to the community center walked into our practice session. Without hesitation, Maria greeted them, offered directions, and even explained where to find the restrooms, all in clear, confident English. The proud smile she shared with her classmates said everything. They were ready for the real world. 3 months after our journey began, I watched Maria give a short presentation in English to new ESL students. When I started, she told them, I was scared to say hello. Now I help patients every day. English is still difficult, but I'm not afraid anymore. Her words resonated through the classroom we'd shared for these transformative months. Chen now confidently managed his restaurant's English-speaking customers, while Amir had been promoted to team leader at his construction firm. As I looked at their proud faces, I realized that teaching English wasn't just about language. It was about rebuilding confidence, restoring dignity, and creating connections. Each small step had led to this moment, proving that with determination and support, any barrier could be overcome. Ready for advanced class? Maria asked with a smile. Always ready, her classmates responded in unison. Thanks for joining me on this journey. If you found this story helpful for your English learning, smash that like button and subscribe to our channel. Next week, we'll explore another real-life English story about job interviews in America. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. Leave a comment below sharing your own English learning experiences. I read every comment and love hearing your stories. Remember, learning English is a journey we're on together. See you in our next lesson.